Okay, dear friends in Dhamma, we are going to start the first Dhamma sermon of this Kalalgoda April retreat. May you give your consent by saying Sadhu Sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Manyamano bhikkhave baddho marassa amanyamano mutto papimato ti. Dear friends in Dhamma, so we were discussing Yavakalapi Sutta in this Kalalgoda English medium retreat. It went till about several months now. And it's very interesting sutta where very interesting aspects of Vipassana meditation being discussed. So the topic starts like Buddha giving a very interesting two similes. Actually the first simile is related to a sheep of barley. So even in the good old days, so that being a kind of an harvest. And Buddha mentioned 6 people coming from 6 directions using flails to struck sheep of barley. So this flail is a kind of an instrument, kind of a tool which has 2 divided wooden plates, and so that it can struck heavily onto a sheep of barley. So as a result of that striking, that smashing, so this sheep of barley, the grains are taken out, smashed, very much like become powdered. So Buddha mentioned one person come, a strong person with one flail, and he does smashing, striking to this heap of barley, and then another person come from another direction, another person come from another direction. So likewise 6 people come from 6 directions and then struck the sheep of barley. And ultimately Buddha mentioned there's another 7th also person comes and struck the sheep of barley. So Buddha mentioned as a result of this kind of a attack or smashing, so this whole sheep of barley become almost like powdered. So similarly Buddha mentioned likewise, so our minds get smashed, agitated, very much like bewildered, because of the sense impingements happen through the 6 senses. Through our eyes we see various sights, and most of the time mind get agitated because of those sights. We hear various sounds, as a result of that mind get agitated because of those sounds. And through the nose we sometimes get various odors, and mind sometimes get agitated. Through the tongue also we get various tastes and mind get agitated. And the body, through the body we get various tactile sensations, mind get agitated. And to the mind also various mind objects happen, and ultimately mind get agitated. So likewise all these 6 senses are in a way causes to agitate the mind, to make it excite. Assume that the mind was in a more relaxed, calm, unattached type of state, but you lose that unattached, peaceful, equanimous kind of state because of these sense impingements. Again it get excited, again it get agitated. Constantly we are being bombarded using this kind of a situation. On top of that, Buddha mentioned, or Buddha adds, that people tends to think about another life, a future birth, thinking ahead, and more further loading of the mind, fantasizing the mind. So that is adding another aspect to the mind, further agitate the mind. Mind become further very much like perplexed, because things are very doubtful and we don't know about the future. But people keep thinking about these future events, imaginations, and mind gets really stressed up. So these are the 7 ways Buddha mentioned. So people due to this sense impingements and on the other hand through obsessive thinking, ultimately mind get agitated. And then Buddha went on to explain another simile. So that is related to a war between two groups. So what are the two groups? Russians and Ukrainians. So they are the Devas and Asuras. So they were having a war long time ago, and they both groups had a kind of determination. Okay, if Asuras win, the king of the Devas, so that is the god Sakka, has to be bound with all his arms and legs and the neck, and they have to be the Asuras have to bring him to the assembly hall. On the other hand, if the Devas win, then Asura king, his name is called Vepachitti, he has to be bound with these 5 places and taken to the assembly hall of the Devas. It is called, that's a name for that, Sudhamma. Now, anyway, so Devas won. So Devas won the battle, and so they were able to catch the Asura king, the Vepachitti, and then taken him to the Devas assembly hall, that is the Sudhamma. So that is their assembly hall name. And now Asura king was there, bound together using 5 bonds. Now here Buddha adds, telling that another aspect. It is not a typical type of bonding, typical kind of a tying. Rather, it's an extraordinary kind of bond. So the moment the king of the Asuras, Vepachitti, thinks Devas are good, Devas are righteous, and the Asuras are unrighteous, I better stay with the Devas in this Deva realm. If he happen to think like that, then all the tightening bonds will be loosened, and he will appear like a Deva in the Deva realm. But very unlikely he thinks like that, because he is an enemy of the Devas. So he most probably would think, Devas are unrighteous, Asuras are righteous, I want to escape from the Devas and need to go back to the Asura realm. Such situation, his bond become more tighter and tighter. So Buddha mentioned, so this bond is so subtle, it depends on his thought. And Buddha adds telling that, evan sukmataram bhikkhave mara bandhana. So more than the Vepachitti's bond, this Mara's bond is more subtler. So who is under that bond? We all are in that bond. So we are beyond Vepachitti. In a sad situation, so the way we think makes us bound to Maras, so the Maras realm. So we are in the Maras realm, and he is putting so many different baits, so many different, say, snares, and we get bound to those different things. And now Buddha explains 5 different ways how we get bound to the Maras bond. So those 5 different ways actually we were discussing one after the other. The first one is Manyita, that is conceiving. So we think that there's a person here, I am an individual, and keeping that as my center of focus, center of attention, now all type of thinking is continuing. I am here, you are there. So I am here, he is there. I am here, she is there. So likewise, this I, center of I, is something that we are using for all our vocabulary, all our grammar, all our languages. It has become one of the deeply rooted sense. So we all consider individually as a person, as an individual, as a I-centered thinking, conceiving. That is manyana. So I-centered thinking. Do you have any other way of thinking apart from I-centered thinking? So we need to think. That also we need to think and see whether am I able to think without an I. That may be possible. And on the other hand, you can even think using an I, but without getting really trapped in it. So that's another story. So therefore, sometimes Buddha mentioned, the Arahants are also talking in terms of I. I preached Dhamma, I received Dana. So they use the term I, but internally there is no sense of I. There is no kind of an identification. There is no having a strong delusion of I. They merely use the term I for easy communication, mere communication, that's all. But internally they have a deep understanding there is no I, there is no me, there is no person, there is no individual. So these are 5 aggregates, we can say. So they have a deeper understanding regarding that. But on the other hand, whenever we are talking, and our languages, our culture, our social conditioning, all political systems, education, everything more and more confirms the availability of a sense of I, availability of a person, availability of an individual. So all the systems are made up so that the I-making is stronger and stronger to feel us more strong identification, to feel us more ego, to feel us more important. So that is one sense, the manjana, conceiving. The second one Buddha mentioned as the injana. So that is craving-based thinking. So we all have kind of a craving, desire internally. We desire various things. As a result of that, I-making happens. I comes out. I need that. I need him. I need her. I need that. So likewise, as a result of this craving, we again and again create a self. So you can see how our minds are operating in these 5 different ways. So one thing is the deeply rooted I-related conceiving. Second one is deeply rooted sense of craving. And as a result of craving, we tend to feel that I want it. I possess it. So kind of a possession. So I want it. So the wanting, in a way, fertilizes, promotes sense of I. Wanting, craving, promotes the sense of I. When I am losing something, then I comes out. I can't lose. I am crying. I get upset. I get really panicked because I am losing something. The sense of I has a strong connection to this craving. So that is the second one. Actually, we discuss in detail all these things the couple of months, so that I am just touching them. The third one is called Pandita. So, actually the Pandita, agitation. So we tend to always dependent on something. So as a children, we depend on our mother. Children, as we depend on our father, to our teacher, and to the food. Maybe as we growing up, we have our friends, we depend on them. And we have our various desires, we depend on them. And as we get loved with another person, then we depend on that, depend on him or her. Then we get married, we depend on, say, husband, wife, children. And we depend on the occupation. So likewise, so many things are there for us to get dependent. Are these dependent stuff, are they real in the sense, are they permanent? Will they last forever? Will they always continuously satisfy the way we want? So that is where we are in trouble. Suppose that you are attached to someone, and that person, if does not behave the way you want, then you will be deeply troubled. Because you expect some kind of a behavior from him or her, but that person has behaved differently. So you get deeply troubled. Because you are dependent. So similarly, say we as inhabitants, say we are depending on a kind of a governing system. If the government act differently, so we suffer. So we are dependent. So likewise, continuously in our lives, we are constantly being dependent, but those dependent factors are undergoing various kinds of changes, and those are beyond our control, and at that each and every moment we suffer, and I comes out. I want that to behave like this. I want her to behave like this. I want him to behave like this. Why did he behave like this? Why did she behave like this? So internally, so I have this kind of an agreement, assumed agreement, so they have to behave like this. He has to behave like this. She has to behave like this. So likewise, kind of an internal agreement. But those are not realistic, not practical. So therefore Buddha mentioned here this Pandita. So the moment all those different dependent factors are fluctuating, changing, subject to different kinds of changes, then I comes out. Strong I comes out. So we feel I being attacked, I being troubled. Sense of I comes out. Pandita. I get agitated. Now the fourth one is called prapanchita, conceptual proliferation. So our minds are eager to think, not just one way, in one direction, another direction, another direction, another direction. Many different ways, manifold ways, we are keep on thinking. In Sinhala there is dasate kalpana karno, neda? Dahate kalpana karno. I don't know how the English term, maybe manifold way of thinking, not a very objective, single-directed, well-designed type of thinking, organized kind of thinking. Rather, mind goes on and on in many different ways. And you can't stop. Maybe thinking in the past, thinking about the future, and thinking when we are hearing, when we are seeing, when we are smelling, tasting. So it's like a crazy thing. Keep on thinking. Ultimately, this obsessive thinking causes various deep troubles like trauma, or maybe like depression or rumination. Many things, many issues. Mental diseases are caused by overthinking. Conceptual proliferation. So conceptual proliferation is a cause of generating the sense of I. So all these too much thinking produce the sense of I, a strong ego, confuse the whole situation, and strong I being generated. So this is the fourth aspect Buddha mentioned, how each these different techniques are contributing to get bound to the Mara. We are being bound to Mara, these four ways. Now we are going to discuss the fifth one. That's the last one mentioned in this particular sutta. It is called Managata. Asmiti bhikkave Managata metang. Ayang ahang asmiti Managata metang. Bhavissanti Managata metang. Na bhavissanti Managata metang. Rupi bhavissanti Managata metang. Arupi bhavissanti Managata metang. So likewise Buddha keep on mentioning. So whenever we think I am, deeply rooted cause is there. Here, the cause has been the conceit. So I want to show up. I want to highlight. I want to be superior. I want to be felt important. So anybody who don't want to be felt important? So everybody wants they need self-respect, equal contribution, equal rights. So while this last retreat at Jahana Groves, actually one was 2 times complained. Many women were gathered in one side, the other side were the men. Men's side was some space. Woman was keep writing. So why this kind of difference? Why all these men come in one side, women come in other side? So can't they get mixed up? We need equal rights. So we want some importance as a person. So I want to get highlighted. So myself should be well respected. So we all have that kind of a desire, self-esteem. So we can use many different terms to indicate that. So how this mana, conceit, happens in our mind. So constantly we measure, I am here, you are there, so I divide. So there is an individual here and there are many individuals outside. So I compare this individual with that individual. Am I better than this individual? Am I equal to this individual? Or am I inferior to this individual? So likewise, I am constantly comparing myself with another person. So whenever that comparison happens, automatically the sense of I generates. So these are the three main ways of measuring, either equal, superior or inferior. Either way, we are measuring. I am here, you are there, and two individuals, and I am comparing, measuring. So that produces sense of I. And if you can consider the gravity here, now probably you have heard about 10 fetters. Dasa Sangyojana. Hope you all have heard. Typically we say 3 fetters are abandoned when one attains stream entry. So what are those fetters? Sakkaya Ditthi, the personality view. Vicikicca, maybe the doubt. Silabbata Paramasa, thinking that the purification can happen merely through various rituals, observances. So those are the 3 fetters we usually say abandon when one becomes a Sotapan. When one becomes a Sakadagami, what are the fetters abandoned? Nothing. So only kind of fading off, diluting happens to the greed and hatred. When one becomes an Anagami, non-returner, so those hatred and hatred and greed completely abandoned. That is Kamaraga, Patiga also abandoned. So altogether 5 fetters are there. So those 5 fetters are typically called as lower fetters, Oram Bhagya Sangyojana. So those are the ones binding us to the lower realms, either to the hell realm, either to the human realm, either to the heavenly realms, and they are the lower realms. So we are in a lower realm, by the way. Even though we think we are in a big level, we are in a lower realm. So these threads in a way, fetters in a way, binding us, keeping us in this lower realm. So 5 more fetters are there. So they are called Ruparaga, Aruparaga, Mana, Uddacca, Avicca. So Ruparaga. So even though we have abandoned some amount about the sensual desires, so there may be still kind of a desire for some mental attainments. Various kinds of material jhana, various kinds of mental sort of blissful states. And there may be even certain immaterial type of states. Aruparaga. So Ruparaga, Aruparaga. So those are very subtle. You can see, so if we consider the mind, so previous ones as human beings, so those desires, say I like home, I like a house, I like a car, I like a dog, I like say a cat, I like a woman, I like a man. So all these are very gross kind of desires in a way. But how about liking a kind of very subtle mental state? So you can see our desires are refined as we moving up. So those refined desires. So various mental states are there, feelings are there, still binds ourselves, and that's why they are called upper fetters. Uddham Bhagiya Sangyojana. Ruparaga, Aruparaga are two of them. And then comes today's topic, Mana, the conceit. Then the Uddacha, that is the restlessness. And then Avijja, the delusion. So now 5 fetters are there. When can we abandon them? Only when we become Arhants. So you can see even Anagamis, non-returners, have these 5 fetters. So we not being Arhants, we not being Anagamis, so many fetters are available with us, so we have to bear with us. So time to time, so different fetters are coming out, playing, and accordingly we are like puppets moving this way, that way. We are being driven by various fetters. So in a way we have to be sympathetic to each of us. So various fetters are internally available, agitating the mind, confusing the mind, and accordingly we act. Now this mana, in that sense, we need to understand, is a deeply rooted fetter, only abandoned when one becomes an arahant. Does that mean that we are sort of forgiven for each and every conceit-related activities? It is not like that. I mean, we should recognize the activity or the operation of this mana, the conceit. When conceit arises, so many occasions are there how conceit arises. So I have got a fair list so that we can understand how vulnerable we are. So one is called because of the nationality. So we as Sinhalese, so we think, okay, we are coming from an ancient Sinhala background, so I should be much recognized. Our national should be the best. They are, low. They are just started. So we always can have such kind of a conceit because of our nationality, isn't it? Jati. And because of our birth. So I am born to a, say, Brahmin family. He is born to a lower caste. So caste system. So caste system is another ground so that we start comparing ourselves. Probably if you are born into a higher caste, then you look down the other lower caste people. On the other hand, if you are born to a lower caste, then you feel much inferior than another person who is into a higher caste. So naturally, the social system very much impose this kind of a comparison. We as human beings ultimately trapped in these social imposements, caste system. Then the different groups are there. So I am belonging to a particular group. I am belonging to a particular team. They are in a different, opposite team. So my team is the best team. Your team is not the best team. I am A team, you are B team. So likewise we compare. So comparison, mana. So when someone is attacking, so they are using all these different terminologies. And I am being felt strong I here, ego here. He is attacking me using those different terms. And then if you are healthy, what do you think? So I didn't get any kind of illness, but they are quite, subject to illnesses constantly. So I am the most healthiest person. Probably one can have this Arogya Mother. It's called Arogya Mother. So because of health, even one can get such kind of a comparison. So there are people who are constantly subject to illnesses. Say you are a person not subject to such kind of an illness. So you feel more gifted. You feel that you are more superior. And we compare. And we feel, okay, kind of a conceit as a result of that. And then when one is in his prime youth, so constantly they have a strong ego, strong I. So when a poor say old person is available, they even cheat them, they even tease them, because they are quite in their prime youth. You know these things, right? So how youngsters are cheating or teasing the old people and take kind of mischievous activities. So because of the internal youth, that prime youth they have, and the way they walk, so everything is there, When in the prime youth, the way one person walk may be a little different, few inches, few feet up. And say you have a good car and the other person has an old car. While you are driving this new car, what do you feel? You feel gifted, I have a posh car. But the other person who is just riding an old car, maybe they are still using a three-wheeler, but I am going by a car. So I should be respected. So when I am going my car, the three-wheel has to be kept aside. So they have to give more priority to me. So that's why all these politicians are going and with a parade. So all other vehicles have to be kept aside. So they have to given the priority. So internally, even when we are driving a vehicle, doesn't it lead a I conceit within us? Imagine, how foolish we are. We are riding a vehicle just to go from this end to the other end because I can't walk. Now suppose you want to go from this end to Matara. Now since you can't walk, say you hire a vehicle or you have your own car. But while driving your car, you get more conceit, thinking that my car is more, advanced car than another person's car. My brand is the best brand. My one looks beautiful than his car. So he has to give me more priority when I am going to Matara. Stupid. Don't we do this? So don't you get, once you get into a very, advanced type of, say nowadays we have, Tesla, Tesla car. So you can give this thing and it will take you there and you don't need to even intervene. So it's a self-driven car. Suppose you have a Tesla car and another person has a, typical Morris Minor. So the Tesla car owner may have more conceit than the other person. So why people are selecting all these new models? For what? Have you thought about it? Why people are going for all these new models? If the purpose is simply go from this end to from this place to another place, any vehicle would do, right? So why people are taking all these new models, more popular models? Why? They are probably want to show their status. Status, where the status? Is it tangible? It remains in the mind. So all these are mind-made. So I am making a self, a recognition through all these different things. So when you are driving that, so you feel more uplifted than a normal person who is simply walking maybe. And you don't care about them. Say if you are driving a very expensive car, and if a passenger, rather say a pedestrian is going, do you think that you have more compassion, you feel more, say, respect to that passenger than yourself? What do you think? So there are such situations also. Certain countries, they have to give due respect to the passenger. They have to maintain fair distance till the passenger pass, till the passenger cross. They can't even get close to him. They have to maintain fair amount of distance. But countries like us, We may even drive on him. I am on a Tesla car. He's just a passenger, isn't it? Then when we get more profit, suppose this month bonus is very high. Another person didn't get his bonus. You might get conceited. So I am the one got the high amount. I got a lot of money. I got a lot of wealth. So as a result of wealth, I is developed. I is developed. You can see all these are external things, but the sense of I is highlighted. And suppose that many are respecting. Now you all are respecting me. So the sense of I can develop here. So suppose another monk comes and you all start respecting him, not me. So I might get upset, right? You guys should respect me. So this monk is a temple monk, I am a forest monk. So the more the people are respecting, so that respect builds up ego. So that's a real, kind of a disease we monks have. The conceit. Because, the parents are coming and respecting. All people are coming and respecting. Leaders are coming and respecting. Young monks are coming and respecting. Respecting. Ultimately, I am in the moon. I can't live in the ground. Can't listen to another person. When someone is coming and telling, okay, if I did a mistake which someone is coming and telling, I can't accept it because I am in a very idealistic, made-up world because of conceit. So because of respect, we get a lot of ego. Now say you are a principal in a school and others are simply paying respect to you. Say teachers have to obey to your orders. Children have to obey to your, students have to obey to your orders. So what happened to your mind? So at home also you are trying to be the principal. So the wife will smash you. Or the husband will smash you. Sometimes now lady principals are also there, no? Previously only the male principals. Nowadays lady principals are also there. So they go and be the principal at home. Now the political leaders. So why this leadership? Why we need leadership? Is it to serve the country? Is it to serve to people? Or to show my ego? So to feel more important. Sakkara. All these are different respecting. When army commander goes, everyone has to salute, right? If they are not saluting, they'll be in trouble. So they should salute me. So the system is made up in a way to build up ego. So you can see how our systems are built up. To strongly build up ego. Strongly build up the sense of I. Confirming there is an I here. Confirming there is I here. I am being respected. I being respected. So I become solid. And then sometimes say when someone is coming, every time he's the one given the more priority. He's the one given more priority. Due to many reasons maybe. Now say a particular system is built up so that assume that a group of people have to be given certain priority. So that a person who belongs to that group feel conceited because that priority is given to them. So that purekkara, what we call as given the priority. So certain systems they are imposing certain priority by the government or by the accepted norms or whatever it is. So that priorities are building certain conceit. And how about having many followers? Say you are going to make a talk, many are coming and assembling and always, hearing you and sort of obeying you and keep you on the pedestal, venerating you, respecting you, and many, many followers are there. To that person, comparing with another person who may have less followers. What do you think? So the person with many followers will feel more conceited than the person with less followers. So when you have many followers, so you get more conceit. Now it is available in a different way nowadays through the technology. What do you think? I heard through the Facebook, when you are putting something, so if you get more likes than another person, what do you think? Say you are putting message, right? Is it called message? Something. Post. You are putting a post. And your post being well acknowledged, and many are like that. But when someone else's post didn't get such kind of a respect. And what do you feel? What do you think? So why people are making all these different videos and all these different type of posts? So why they want many hits to their YouTube channel? Why they need? Is it only for money? Why they need this kind of recognition? So you feel, okay, so once you are going in an audience, if they don't recognize you, recognize in the sense, now suppose there's a popular figure is available. Suppose an actress is available. Now she is coming here. But we are, very old people gathered here. Can't recognize this person. Now that person would become, a little upset because everyone knows me. I mean, everyone knows me. Everyone has their like given to me. I am a well-known figure in the social media. But you guys in Kalalgoda didn't even recognize me. So when you become a popular figure, so you are expecting that kind of a recognition. You appear like more important person. So many different ways are there. Nowadays people are coming up with many different ways to bullying us in a way, to promote many different ways of conceit within us. Interesting ways are available nowadays. And how about you being a beautiful person? You are beautiful, prettier than another person. So you are giving up in a beautiful way. You are walking and everyone is looking at you. You are taking attention from everyone. So why women are making all this makeup and all? To feel important, right? To get others' attention. To feel highlighted. So you being noticed. So then when they are looking at you, you feel, oh, they are looking at me. So you are a special person now. Not a normal person. You are a special person. So ego is building up. I, sense of I. So we are constantly promoting sense of I. And how about education? So you have one degree and say master's degree, PhD, double PhD, and Dhamma knowledge. You have learned the Dhamma even with the commentary. Say this Sutta, what we call the Bahusutta, the education, academic knowledge. All that lead to conceit. Now, do you think that professors in universities, are they in real cordial, respecting each other, helping each other, and helping each other? Or are they cutting them off? So, university staff, no. What's the kind of a competition they have to each other? To for their own publications, researchers, put their name to that research, to their particular publication, to the paper, to show the name, to add, different terms at the end of the name. BSc, MSc, BA, MA, PhD, blah, blah, blah. To feel more important. Can't be a normal person, it has to be a special person. So this education, learnedness, adding another aspect to the conceit. Then patibhana. So you have special talents. So you are having a very good voice so that others being attracted. You are a singer maybe. Maybe you are a very good speaker. You can speak to a larger audience. Or you are a good administrator. Or you are a good sportsman. So likewise, we as human beings, we have different talents. So this particular talent can make you conceited. Can you think? All these, as we individuals have different talents. I am more talented in a particular thing. And that talent, it may be a gift in a way, but we are misusing it. Misusing it for what? To being with the Mara, to get bound to Mara. So Mara know how to take us, keep us bound. So he is giving a particular talent. So this fellow using it to build up an ego. So he is never being able to go away from the Mara. Free from the Mara's bond. Free from the Mara's prison. We don't know how to use a talent for our own goodness. We don't know how to use a particular talent to be free. But we use a particular talent to get bound. Then how about being what we call, now say in the monk's situation, there are monks who are being in the monkhood for many, many years. So that, what we call as the number of vassa. So that also can give mana. So because many other young monks have to pay respect. And I am the one with the, Mahathera level who has many vassa. So I become conceited. Sometimes called as the asavatthaniya dhamma. Asavas, the influxes are being fairly improved, increased because of these asavatthaniya dhamma. Instead of eradicating asavas, influxes, these particular reasons can grow influxes. Now suppose you are the most experienced person in a particular profession. Say you are a doctor and you are the most experienced doctor in this particular thing, and the others are coming to get your advice and you are the ones training these young ones. So what do you feel? So you feel more conceited. And there may be other austere practices. Now say, in terms of the monks, say there are certain austere practices. So we can simply dependent on the pindapata, the alms round, without accepting the food taken to the monastery. Say I am going on village pindapata. Other monks are simply accepting food taken to the monastery. So me as a pindapatika monk, can I feel more conceited? I can. Because I am just looking down the others. They are very lazy fellows. They can't go on pindapata. I am the one going early morning to village pindapata. I walk for many hours and all people are waiting for me to give pindapata. How much they are accumulating merit by giving me pindapata. These other monks are really lazy. So these are there for cut the defilements, but unfortunately they are causing to develop conceit, me as a special monk who are with austere practices. Other monks are normal monks. I am a special monk with following austere practices, duthanga. So I am using only rug robes. Others are using very good new robes. So I feel more superior than the others. Now, when you consider our way of human thinking, to which monk are you giving more marks, appreciation? Is it to the monk who are in the temple, wearing good, beautiful robes, or to a monk who may be in a remote monastery, forest monastery, wearing rug robes? To whom that are you paying more respect? So you can imagine, but we can't see their real inner knowledge of the Dhamma or their real inner qualities. But we are giving more value, appreciation to this outer appearance. Lukappamana. So Buddha mentioned this as the Lukappamana in the Pamana Sutta. So our mind has such tendency. If a particular person is following kind of a strenuous practice, rigorous practice, then another person, we give more prominence, value to that. And a person, knowing that, can purposely follow that, expecting such kind of respect. That is also another situation. And when he is following that, since many people are now appreciating him, respecting him, venerating him, now he feels conceited. It can also happen. Then how about various kind of sila? Say you are simply 5 precepts. I am following 8 precepts. You are just 5 precepts. I am just following 8 precepts. You should respect me. No, I am just 10 precepts. So you should pay respect to me. You guys are just 5 precepts. I am 10 precepts. No, I am upasampada. So you should pay respect to me. I am a monk, upasampada monk, high ordination. I am following many rules, many precepts. So even the sila we are using to compare. I am with more sila than you. So when now, say for example, when someone is not following sila, proper sila, if he is lapsing different precepts, so why we feel agitated? So why are we comparing? Is the sila for comparison? Is sila to develop conceit? So Buddha mentioned in the Sappurisa Sutta, so if a person, as a result of sila, thinking that I am much better, thinking that I am superior than another person who is with lower sila, Buddha says he is a silavanta asappurisa. Silavanta asappurisa. You can see, Buddha has mentioned the things in point blank. There is nothing to hide. So out of sila, out of morality, we are building conceit. So why monks are, sometimes feeling more conceited than a layperson? Basically don't have to know. So just because of the sila, if we feel more conceited, so we are ignorant in that sense. Respecting is it's okay, but how to handle it? We don't know how to handle it. That's why, either it is happening in a particular profession. Say you are a professional. Say you are being gifted in a particular profession. And you are the one in that particular field. You are the most maybe popular person in that particular profession. Now say a particular doctor or someone, only few of them are available in a particular hospital or in a particular country. And don't you feel more important? So many ones are calling you, many ones want to channel you, many one wants to contact you, many one want to consult you. So you feel more important. Can happen this conceit. I am a more important person than another person. And even samadhi can have even that. Say, I am with second jhana, but you are with first jhana. I am a second jhana. You guys are just first jhana. I am much better than you. No, I am in third jhana. You are just first jhana. We people even using these concentrated states to measure. And Buddha even mentioned that in that Sappurisa Sutta. If one is using this jhana to compare another fellow human being who doesn't have jhana, or maybe with a lower jhana, still we are conceited, we are sappurisa. I mean, even the spiritual qualities we are using to measure. And various, other professions, I already discussed that. Many professions are there. So you being in a particular profession, you being recognized for that particular profession, that also can lead to different kinds of conceit. So you can see, I have just given some example, only very limited examples. You can see in the society, many different ways are available for us to develop conceit. So we as fools, we get trapped into all these different possibilities and we get more conceited. So conceit, therefore, is a trap. Mara has given that. Mara knows how to take us bound to his trap. Unknowingly or knowingly, we get bound. The moment I feel more important, the moment I feel equal to another person, I am tempted to do any kind of a comparison, I am being trapped. I am being bound to Mara's bait. I am being bound to Mara's bond. And we'll discuss further tomorrow into more subtle aspects of this conceit. Today I just want to give a kind of a general understanding of how we prepare our minds, how all these conceit-related thoughts can overwhelm our mind. And we even tends to look down another person, thinking that I am much superior than another person, and maybe blaming another person, hitting another person, killing another person, thinking that I am much superior than another person. You can see how the wars, battles are going on, how a particular group thinks that another group haven't respected this particular group, this particular person. Then that person initiates kind of a conflict, and two groups are in a battle. But ultimately, the defilements operating in human minds are the ones creating all these troubles, havoc in the whole society, but we are looking for external solutions without really answering the sources, without really targeting the sources. We are just finding solutions to the other symptoms without properly curing the wound, curing the symptoms, curing the sources. Anyway, so with that I like to conclude today's Dhamma sermon, and we'll discuss further some subtle aspects with respect to this tomorrow as well. Thank you very much for attentive listening. So today there's a small sharing of merits. Today's lunch dana was offered by Miss Chandima Rankadikara. What's that? Rankadikara. And Kaushala. Huh? Kaushala. Wishing physical and mental well-being and the noble Kalyana Mitta Association to practice Dhamma throughout the I can't recognize this handwriting. For Kaushala, Isiri, Vidura and Chandima. Wishing good health and ability to practice Dhamma for the twins or parents of both parties. Living parents of both parties. Living parents of both parties. So with that, actually we'll, Good. Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, I like to thank Kalalgoda group also. I mean, many participants here. We started 6 years ago, as he mentioned. Started in a very small scale. Bhante Dhammajiva and myself shared the place in English retreats. And later he put the whole burden onto me. But now I am enjoying it, by the way. So it's an interesting gathering here, and it's a very interesting, very beautiful place, now grown up, and many are getting the benefit, and some are actually benefiting the recordings. And actually sometimes I don't even know certain people. They come and thank me, taken the recordings. I didn't know even that they haven't even seen. So several incidents such happen. Somebody mentioned that she has gone through a cancer, and during that time one of her friend got the Satipatthana recordings and given to her, and she, while being sick, started practicing that and felt like rejuvenated, felt like fairly cured, and coming and thanking me, and I don't know anything. I haven't even seen that person. It's really beautiful. And me myself have taken such advantage from many other monks' recordings as well. For example, Ajahn Sumedo's recordings. I think I started hearing him and reading him when I was maybe in my late 20s something. I have a lot of gratitude to him, and what a kind of teaching I received from them. And I couldn't even meet him. And I have a lot of gratitude to those teachers who actually gave me a lot of insights, showed me the path, and they didn't even know that I am making use of their teachings. So it's a really beautiful Dhamma actually we know, and some of them already passed away. Say for example, now Most Venerable Jnanarama Mahathero. So I am being really inspired by his way of life. I couldn't even see him live, but I am really inspired by his way of life, by reading his book, Amabindu. And then, Most Venerable Katakurunda Jnananda Mahathero. Now he already has passed away, but we are learning from his teachings every week at Nissarana. So likewise, we as students, followers, and even the Buddha's teaching and many others, so we are sort of getting the benefit from the Buddha's teaching in many different ways, and we can feel a lot of gratitude to all our teachers, to all our elders, and to our parents. And both of my parents are already passed away. So you can imagine some years ago they were happy when they saw a son, but now both of them are not available. So this is our life. So most of yours should be the same. So when they are available, if we are paying respect, if we are paying our gratitude, if we are looking after them, so that is the best we can do. It's a very, very kind of an uncertain world we are living. So every day we are hearing many things, how people get going through various troubles and all the difficulties, ailments, this and that. But on the other hand, we don't need to constantly have depressed thinking, all this bad stuff. But as human beings, we have something to be happy as well. Mostly the Buddha's teaching. Even though this world has all this chaos available, still you can maintain a very peaceful mind thanks to Buddha's teaching. Okay, with that we'll conclude today's Dhamma sermon, and we'll share all the merits what we have accumulated with all the past relatives, all the celestial beings, and whoever in need of merits. And we wish these merits help us also to attain path, fruition, Nibbana. We'll recite the traditional verses to share the merits. Ettavatacha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang sab Devanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhiya. Ettavatacha amhehi sambatang punya sampadang Samme buhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhiya. Ettavata camhehi sambadang punya sampadang. Sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhiya. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddika. Punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu sasanang. Akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddika. Punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu desanang. Sattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddika. Punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu mamparang. Idang wo ñātīnaṃ hotu sukitā hontu ñātayo. Idang wo ñātīnaṃ hotu sukitā hontu ñātayo. Idang wo ñātīnaṃ hotu sukitā hontu ñātayo. Imina punya kammena māme bāla samāgamo. Satang samāgamo hotu yāva nibbāna pattiyā. Imina punya kammena māme bāla samāgamo. Satang samāgamo hotu yāva nibbāna pattiyā. Imina punya kammena māme bāla samāgamo. Satang samāgamo hotu yāva nibbāna pattiyā. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. I have a small announcement. Tomorrow at 7 a.m. we have the Zoom session. Clarity of mind through mindfulness, that particular session, because it was being dragged to the, typically it is being held on the last Saturday, so tomorrow is the last Saturday, so that is available tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. and the usual 7 a.m. Dhamma sermon in Sinhala medium will also be available on Sunday. So with that notice, I will conclude this session. Thank you very much.